welcome to another episode of geekchattv. I'm here today with Matt Penny, who is an avid Nintendo player, always has been. And I guess today we're just going to be talking about all things Nintendo, the trials and tribulations of being a Nintendo player.
Yes, there are many. Mainly the lack of third-party support on the system does grind you down a little bit.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that. Let's start with a few positive things. So, why do you choose Nintendo consoles over others?
So I choose Nintendo consoles over others because I love the first-party games they have. Mm-hmm. I love Mario Kart, Metroid, Zelda. I mean, the list goes on. Really, you've got all the normal Nintendo characters, and the games are always good.
Yeah, there was definitely that Nintendo seal of quality on every Nintendo purchase. Excuse me. Do you ever feel that you're missing out though from the newer consoles? If you see what I'm saying?
All the time. I mean, I'd love to be able to play like. I mean, we did get Assassin's Creed 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. And they were really. I enjoyed playing those on the Wii, but you know, they've now Ubisoft have now said that they're stopping developing for the Wii U for the kind of adult games, and so now I've not even got that, which is a bit disappointing, really.
So is it just a case of you've grown up with Nintendo and you just don't want to let it go? If you see what I mean?
Yeah,
there's a youngster at heart.
Yeah, there's this nostalgia effect to it.
I mean, most people have a Nintendo as their second console, but you're properly the other way around. It's always your first console of choice.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You're probably a rarity in the people of our age group, I'd say.
I think I definitely am. If I had the money and the time, I'd be the first to buy a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox.
Which one would you go for, just out of curiosity?
PS4.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
It is outselling, so you're obviously not alone there.
No.
So what's your favourite Nintendo game? Or game franchise?
Favourite game franchise is definitely Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the way that it's always worked from Ocarina of Time on the N64. That's what got me hooked on the series. Before then, it was just another game, but Ocarina brought it into a whole new level, and since there, I just think it's gone from strength to strength.
Is it that kind of dungeon exploring, open worldy kind of thing that you like?
And then the kind of puzzle element as well, with like having to shoot arrows into certain bits and moving blocks around and that kind of thing.
Do you think you get equally obsessed with like Elder Scrolls games or?
I definitely would if I had a PlayStation or Xbox.
I take it if they brought that out on the Wii, it's something that you definitely go for.
I would definitely buy it. Whether I'm the norm for the market on the Wii U, I think I'm probably a little bit more mature in my style of games that I like playing.
There's definitely a lack of adult titles for the Wii, and those, even games like Mario Kart or Zelda that adults would play, there's a certain sort of nostalgia value there that goes with them. And I don't know.
I mean, it was all looking positive at the start. I mean, we had Mass Effect on when it was opening up. Also had Arkham City. Had Assassin's Creed. Watch Dogs was released as well on the Wii U. So that it was looking positive that third-party support would be good, but I don't know, for whatever reason, Nintendo have obviously dropped the ball.
Have they just made their console too hard to design these games for, to port over? Or I mean, I don't know much about it.
No, I mean, I've looked into this a little bit. from what I've heard, they're not the easiest company to work with. Very, I don't know, very. They might just be the whole language barrier. They're very stuck in their ways. And
was it you that was saying that someone, if you want to get support when developing for Nintendo, you have to go through like the European office, then they translate it to the Japanese office, and it goes back.
Yeah. So so I was reading an article. It was by I can't remember what developer it was, but they must have worked on one of the launch titles. He was saying that throughout the whole process, Nintendo just seemed to be behind with what they were doing, and and if they had any issues, they'd go to the Nintendo office. It would get translated, and it'd be about a week before they could actually get answers to their questions.
Sure. And
some of the times when they got those answers back, it didn't actually answer what their query was in the first place. So I think it was just I think it made it very difficult for the developers to actually get on board. The other thing as well, I think, is just the lack of power on the Wii U now. I think most of these developers want to be making the games for Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah, they want the cutting edge.
Exactly.
They
want to be at the top end of the market. They want to be.
I guess for them to port games over to the Wii U, they'd have to be looking back at their PS3, Xbox 360 games maybe, because their current games just can't handle it. Yeah. No. Which is disappointing for them. So I don't know.
Yeah, and you think as well, like, just the way that the Wii U is, and with the control pad as it is, you just think there is so much potential for Nintendo on that console. It's just that there must be something not quite right.
They don't tend to kind of utilise this control. I think the new Star Fox probably will.
I'm hoping.
I'm not sure what Zelda will do with it, if it does anything. But if it was me playing Zelda, just from playing a few Zelda games, I'd happily play it with a bog standard, GameCube controller. That would be the ideal for me anyway.
Yeah.
I'd hate to play it with the nunchucks and all that sort of stuff, like on the Wii. I don't know. You might feel differently.
You get used to it. On the Wii, I played it a lot with the nunchucks, and it was you kind of get used to it. It's in some ways quite nice to be able to sit relaxed with your hands quite far apart with the nunchuck controllers, and just it makes it a bit. So especially if you're just wandering around the world, you don't really need to be sat there kind of ready for action all the time.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So it depends on really your situation, doesn't it?
So what do you think's missing from the Wii? What makes it, in some eyes, a lesser console compared to I don't think it's just the power. Isn't it just the lineup of games?
I think that's probably what it is.
Is it just because we're looking at it from, people in their 30s, men playing it, compared to like what it's designed for, which is maybe families?
Yeah, but then the whole thing with the Wii U was to try and get a bit more adult content on there, and to be a console that the whole family, like from young kids through to older adults, and could actually use and get on board with. I think the lack of third-party support is definitely the thing that's killed it the most. But then, there is quite an exciting year for the exclusive games that they've got. Like in your last episode, we were talking about Star Fox. You've got the new Zelda coming out, and then you've got the kind of the kind of Mario characters like Yoshi and his Wool World or whatever that game's coming out, and Kirby.
Nothing new though.
No.
All based on older games in some way or the other.
Yeah, but
do you think it needs a brand new IP? I mean, like last year, Xbox got Titanfall. It was a big thing for them last year. It was a big coup. Does Nintendo need that brand new big game?
I'm not sure if it really does. I think if they could release, I think they're missing a game, like a first-person shooter game. Like if they could bring back Metroid, I think that would do well.
Especially if it had the online multiplayer thing, which a lot of Xbox 360 and PlayStation games go for.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that Nintendo fall down a little bit on is their is the online interactivity. It doesn't seem to be quite as sophisticated as PlayStation and Xbox. But I suppose this was the Wii U was the first time they've really tried it, and I think they've tried to be a little too different.
What would be your dream game for the Wii to come out? It could be brand new or based on anything else.
Well, if it was kind of, I think a brand new Elder Scrolls game, I'd love that. Something that I could get immersed in for hours and hours and hours. And the other kind of game that I would really love to see is a proper racing game.
Oh yeah, like Gran Turismo.
I'm not a big fan of the Need for Speeds and going around the city. Yeah, it's fun. But I would rather have something that you could get on a track, customise cars, or even like a Formula 1 game would be pretty good.
Do you know what I'd like to see? This is quite random. A Mario sort of first-person exploration shooter type game. Yeah. Sounds random. You know, firing the fireballs at Goombas and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I just think that would be a completely different spin on a Mario game. You know, and to explore the world like you would in Skyrim. You know, walk around the Magic Kingdom and all that sort of stuff. Magic Kingdom. I think I've gone to Disneyland. Mushroom, yeah. But that as well, walk around the Magic Kingdom. With Mario would be quite fun.
Yeah.
So looking back, what's been the best Nintendo console? What ones have you had?
Oh well, let me see. I've had all of them except for the first one, the NES.
Okay.
So I'm pretty up with
Game Boy.
Game Boy. Yeah, we've owned Game Boys in our family. I think I've still got my Game Boy Advance SP upstairs.
Okay. I think I only ever had the original Game Boy. You know, the big kind of grey horrible one.
With Tetris.
Yeah. But it was good, you know. If I was like a commuter or something, I'd probably pick up a DS to play on the train, you know. But that's just not how my life works. So.
Yeah.
I think I had a NES, and then after that, just an N64 and a Wii. So I kept missing a generation, I think. I had a SNES, and I didn't have a GameCube, so...
Yeah, I think my favourite was probably the N64. I think that it just seemed to catapult Nintendo back to the top again. I just think
it came out at a time as well where at that time, like, you had the PlayStation and like Sega Saturn and things like that. 32-bit graphics, and it came out with double that, like even more power. And nowadays, it's the opposite. It's bringing out an older generation of hardware, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. I think the one difference as well in that generation as well, they still use the cartridges, whereas you saw Sega with Saturn and PlayStation had come out with the CDs. You know, it was still kind of, there was more power, but yet it was still old technology in a way.
But old but better technology in a way, because it had no loading times.
Yeah.
And, you know, it probably better lasting discs, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to scratch the hell out of my PlayStation discs, you know.
But all you had to do with the cartridges was just blow on them and then put it back in and it's fine.
I think for me it was the NES was my favourite, just because of the sheer range of games. There was so much, you know, every Mario game. And then I love like Chip and Dale, I love DuckTales, you know, all that sort of stuff. It was just a fantastic time. Yeah.
I think N64 was good. Had Ocarina of Time, James Bond. Mario 64, which was, it just reimagined the whole Mario series and made it a properly 3D adventure.
Is it fair to say, just looking back, that the original NES was a big thing for Nintendo? SNES, not quite as much, but decent.
Yeah.
N64, huge again. GameCube, not quite.
Not quite, but it was a reasonably good console, and there were some pretty good games that came out on there, and it had the same amount of power and everything as PlayStation at the time.
I suppose. I guess it just didn't have that wow factor that the N64 had.
No.
And then, like, coming back with the Wii, big hit.
Yeah.
Wii U, drop the ball maybe.
Yeah. Well, so, you know, next
one
console
should be awesome.
Yeah.
So where do you think they should go next?
I'd like them to keep with the with the touchscreen controller with the second screen, because I think it's got a lot of potential, and if you can get developers, and I think a lot's going to depend on what Nintendo do with their upcoming games on the Wii U. I think if they can show that you can get a decent, if you can use the controller in a decent way and do some imaginative things on it, I think you could then bring in other developers for the next console to kind of work more on those kind of ideas.
They kind of pioneered the kind of motion controls. Now they've gone for the touchscreen thing. Do you think they should bring out something even newer, like Oculus Rift kind of technology for the future generation? Or do you think for now it would do them good to bring out just a Wii U Plus or something like that with double the power, easier for people to develop for, you know, and just rush it out so it comes out soon?
Yeah, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea. I think they're being maybe a little bit more stubborn with what they're trying to do and trying to keep the Wii U going a bit longer. But it would be nice to get something that's got more power on it. I just don't know whether it's worth spending that money to try and to improve the graphics and make it easier to develop on, while still trying to keep all the Wii U games that are currently out working and stuff. I just think I think they're probably worth just starting to develop a new console and get.
For all we know, they already are. Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
You know, you have to think years ahead with this sort of thing. So, how long do you think they'll leave it?
I don't know. I would think it would probably be 2017.
Okay.
So it would be about 4 years after they've released.
That's quite soon.
I think they're going to have to do it then. Just to be able to get back into the market again. You
kind of feel like this year you got Zelda, Star Fox. End of last year you had Smash Brothers, etc. If they'd have got these out like at the start and had this huge lineup,
it would have been a lot better. I think when you release a console and your best first party game is a 2D Mario adventure game, so the Super Mario Brothers game, you know, it doesn't scream next generation.
I know lots of people who will buy a Nintendo console to play Zelda for each iteration.
Yeah.
So you've got to wonder, should they have had that as a launch title?
Yeah, I probably should have been. It worked well on the Wii, on the original Wii. Twilight Princess was a very good launch title. Yeah. But even if they'd bought on something like Mario Kart or something right at the start, it would have been pretty good as well.
But again, we're only talking about first party games, you know.
Again, yeah, but you know, they're the ones that really sell, and if you can get a lot of sales on the system right at the start with a very good first person game, you probably have more likelihood of being able to encourage the third party developers to come in and develop, because they're going to make the money back. Whereas I don't think at the moment they're doing that.
Any last thoughts on Nintendo in general before we wrap this up?
Well, I just...
You sound frustrated when
Yeah.
you really do.
It is. It's frustrating. It's the most frustrated I've ever been with this console, being a Nintendo fan. I think previously I could get on with some of the third-party games, even a FIFA. I would love a FIFA. It's just a football game. I'd love that. You know, it's just something
missing.
Yeah. Just need a couple of little couple of big name third party games that you can at least say, yeah, I've got FIFA, or yeah, I've got this, and you know, FIFA's a good one to just pick up and put down.
So to sum up, Nintendo's been good in the past. It's having a rocky moment at the minute, but it's close.
It's close, and I don't think you can ever count out Nintendo.
They just need the games.
Yeah, they do.
And it's always about the games for any console.
It is.
Good. Well, thanks for talking to me, and join us again on Geek Chat TV. I'm sure we'll speak to Matt again another time about all things Nintendo, and hopefully next time he'll be all like, "Yeah, Nintendo rocks! Look at this new console."
Yes.
Then pull it out like a month after I talked to Rob. I don't think that'll happen. But
No.
you never know. Maybe they'll bring back the old Game and Watch sort of series or something. People think that's brilliant, you know.
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.